Good morning, guys. I just got home from vacation, like late last night. And so you and I get to check out what's going on in the garden. For a point of reference, I've been gone for 10 days. Today, I think, is day 11. I did have someone coming to like pick the limas and make sure that the animals, the chickens and all that stuff were fed. But other than that, this has all been just left for a little over a week. So let's see what's happening. There's no telling. Obviously already, the flowers are beautiful, but the grass has just taken over. Now, we knew that that was a risk in the new bed this year. One, because it's a new bed this year. Two, because I was trying to just sort of broadcast seeds, which meant that I didn't put down the paper barrier that I did around the vegetables. But obviously, I'm gonna have to spend a lot of time today just pulling out weeds and trying to save that like back half back there. In between those sunflowers and all the way up to this like big thing of zinnias, it's just covered in grass. And you know, I usually walk through each day and just sort of pull the big tufts. It did not cross my mind that they were going to completely take over in a matter of 10 days. Let's see what's happening with the vegetables. So far, I don't see anything dead. Number one. There's a lot we're gonna have to do today, guys. The weed control, as you can tell, seems to be doing really well. Like I said, I just rolled out a really thin layer of paper around all of the plants to really try, because the battle last year was just more than I could take. Now, these two tufts of grass right here are obviously one of my seams in the paper. And right now, this little jerk is laying in my onions, which is it's not okay. We're gonna have to get her out of there. And we do have a winter squash that has given up the ghost. So we're gonna have to go and see if any of those are savable. Sometimes if I go ahead and now pull them, dip them in a really like mostly water with a little bit of bleach, they'll hold over until the fall. So I'll pull those and we'll look at them and see if they are ready. The carrots obviously did not get enough rain while I was gone, and I probably did not explain to my dad exactly how to water that. Everything else seems to be okay so far. Let's get I know that we've talked about it before. That was poor thought on my part. I didn't think about how far the tendrils on those cantaloupes were gonna need to go. Obviously, this trellis with the butternut squash is a winner. We'll be repeating that. I've never had so many, but I think underneath there next year, I'm gonna do kale, because it's not gonna explode out the edges. Right now, I don't know how I'm gonna get to that cantaloupe, but it looks delicious. So it's a lot of work to do out here today, guys. These little yellow peppers, they're kind of underwhelming, but I think it's because we had that weird cold snap right after I put them out. So to me, it looks like I've sort of accidentally stunted their growth, which sucks, but you know, it happens. The limas over here, they were getting picked while I was out of town. They were very ready. So there's a few more on there. I'll probably pick them till they're done blooming, and then we'll pull them out and we will just re-sow this entire bed, because it is at the end of what was my broccoli. And my trellis work on that was severely lacking. So I'm kind of ready to take it out and just put something that looks a little prettier in there, you know? A garden can be beautiful and productive. Mostly make sure it's productive. But one day mine's gonna be beautiful. I have never grown dahlias before. This thing is the size of my hand. Ugh. How beautiful is she? I know that this is a little bit crazy and messy, and that it is not everything that I put in at its best, but for the first season of growing flowers, I think I'm gonna take this as a win. Oh, I don't know how to better stake my sunflowers. Who has an idea for how to make that guy? They just droop. It makes me so sad. So, weeding sucks. I've been at this for about 2.5 hours, give or take. And we've made it up into the back part of this cutting space. There's someone mowing. Normally I would just power through this, but I was honestly pleasantly surprised with how well all of these things are just pulling out. When I came over to this corner, I almost didn't do it. I was literally already thinking about how to cover this space without covering these. These are peonies. To try to mitigate this weed problem. But if you watched the video where we built this bed, underneath this layer of dirt is a really thick layer of cardboard. Because I am trying my best to do this bed fully with the Dowding no dig method. Charles Dowding, if you do not know who he is or watch him, please go look him up. He's amazing. And so the idea there is that you sort of put a thick layer of cardboard down and then compost and topsoil on top of that. And then the cardboard breaks down, but it is enough of a light barrier to sort of keep those weeds from coming up through before it breaks down. They're just pulling out. Like, I'm not having to stand over it and put so much of my back and core into pulling it all out. And even the ones that are deep, because there's cardboard down there that they have not penetrated through yet, have a pretty shallow root system. So that was a rock. It was definitely a rock. Scared me to death. Scared the cat too. So this is the first time I've had enough of a weed issue on one of the beds that I've done this way, that I've really had the chance, I guess, to discover how much better it is when you don't pay attention and let things get out of hand and all of that stuff that we all say that we're not going to do, and then somehow life happens and you have an entire 25% of a flower bed that you have to hand pull all the weeds out. But right now, I am so pleased with the fact that I have this layer of cardboard down here, because I do not think this is something that I could have gotten through by hand today if that layer of cardboard weren't down there. So I did all of that weeding by hand, and it did take me about 4 hours. In the interest of full disclosure, that just kicked my butt today. Not to mention, like, the basic mom unpacking, cleaning things that you have to do. But we did it. We got through it. I got all of it weeded. We got the chickens moved. I don't like to leave them in one spot as long as we were gone, but asking someone else to roll your chickens around is really just asking a lot. So as a treat, I went to the market down the street, and they let me have a box of their overripe cantaloupes and a box of overripe tomatoes. So they are very happy little fat birds right now. Didn't do a whole lot across the garden today. Honestly, it didn't need a whole lot. I picked a huge bucket of jalapenos. I did not pull any of the butternut squash yet. I'm just a little bit nervous that I'm going to pull them too early. So I think I'm going to pull one tomorrow and cook it for dinner, and that'll be my test run. So yeah, it's been a long day, y'all. I hope that y'all have had a happy and successful day. And I encourage you to cover your bed with the cardboard, because that beast, I shouldn't have been able to pull all of that by hand. That grass was insane. But we did it, and it looks beautiful again. Now I just really need to put a heavy layer of mulch down. We'll see if I can get to that. I do have some big plans for this flower garden as the seasons go on. But, you know, flowers just require a lot more patience than even vegetables do. And it has taken me years to get to a point where it at least feels like I sort of know what I'm doing. But then every time I turn around, there's a cat laying in my onions. I don't know why she's decided that's the best place for her to hide, but I do not like her laying in my onions. Maddie, get her out of the onions. I hope y'all don't have cats laying in your onions. Anyway, have a wonderful week and happy growing.